Hey, good morning and welcome back to Questioning Sense with me, Matt. Beautiful day again. We are really getting some lovely hot weather here in London at the moment, and it just changes everything. We're very blessed to have a nice garden, so I will be spending most of my time in the garden with my boy. It's a day off work for me. Obviously my wife's at work, so apart from that, all is well. How are you guys doing? I hope you're well. I hope you're getting through this. I hope wherever you are, you're getting some sunshine, because I do find that just helps make everything a little bit better. So what I'm doing is, obviously I'm still wearing a hat, so we're not quite out of this yet, although I am pretty much back to work as normal now. Obviously the schools here still aren't open, so lots of homeschooling, lots of frustration, lots of teaching my son the importance of perfumery. I think my wife's questioning my lesson choices, but there you go. Anyhow, on a blazing hot day like today, I've picked the worst possible perfume to review, but it's one that I do want to talk about, and it's one that I do really enjoy. You will remember recently I did a review of a Guerlain Homme, which is a perfect choice for beautiful weather like this. In fact, this is probably what I'm going to be wearing this afternoon after I've finished this video and had a little shower. But just after that arrived, you know, I mentioned that I was going on a bit of a Guerlain trip, and there was a few that really excited me. Now, some time ago, I was in Fortnum & Mason's to try a couple of different fragrances out, and I did get a whiff of this one, which is Heritage by Guerlain. Now, I'm pretty sure that the one I tried in store was actually the EDT, and just after Homme arrived, I ordered, and it came just a matter of one a day, probably the next day, this one, which is Heritage, and this is the EDP, not the EDT. So it smells slightly different to what I was expecting, but I'm enjoying it very much nonetheless. It's not as I think the EDT is a bit punchier. It's just a little bit lighter, a little bit louder perhaps, but because I've only sampled it in store, I can't really give you a complete sort of a comparison, because it was a passing smell in the store, and I thought I really liked that. So this is the EDP, and this is the one we're going to be talking about today. Now, it came out in '92. Now, I understand that most of the Guerlains, obviously the packaging has changed, and these are what they call Listerine bottles. This is how they look at the moment. The older bottle was slightly different. It was a smoother glass, a different cap, and I'm assuming that there's been some kind of reformulation and the juices are different. Now, as I've said in previous videos, I'm only going to try and review current versions of things so you can get them quite easily. However, a very kind chap called Dan, who's on Instagram as Fragrance Weirdo. Dan! 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 Please have a look at his Instagram, because he's got some amazing fragrances, and he's very candid and very honest about them, and some he likes and some he really doesn't like. And he's also he's really good at spinning perfumes. So if he gets a perfume, quite often he's a blind buyer. He's blind bought it. If he doesn't like it or it doesn't blow him away, he spins it so quickly and sells it on. It's almost quite funny to watch. So yeah, have a look out for Fragrance Weirdo on Instagram. I've mentioned him in a couple of other videos, but he's been really helpful. Anyway, the reason I'm waffling on about him is he's very kindly sent me a load of Guerlain samples to try, and what he has sent me is some vintage Heritage. So at some point I'm going to do a comparison between the two, just to see how much difference there is. A lot of people think there is some slight difference, but not a massive amount. So I'll be intrigued to do them side by side, which I haven't done yet, just to see if it is worth exploring that well. On a side note though, he did send me a sample of Guerlain's Derby, which is the current version of that, and that is something else. That's absolutely stunning. It's just one of the most amazing leather fragrances I've ever smelled, and it's certainly going to be one that I'm going to sort of try and get hold of, maybe a partial bottle in a group or something like that, because it's an expensive fragrance, and not one that I'm sort of wanting to rush out and spend lots and lots of money on. But if I can get hold of a partial of it, or maybe save up and treat myself at Christmas or something like that. But Guerlain's Derby, what a beautiful fragrance that is. Anyway, I digress. Let's get back to Heritage. I love this. I really like this. Completely the wrong time of year for it, in my opinion. But I've been As you can see, this is a 100ml bottle and there's quite a bit gone out of it because this has become something that I've taken to wearing after work in the evenings around the house. After, you know, I've got in and finished either barbecuing or going to work or whatever, I have my shower in the evening, or a cool soak in the bath as I prefer. And that's the fragrance I've been wearing after that. It's just so, so nice. And one actually, my wife has said, oh, you smell nice, a couple of times on. So that is as rare as the proverbial rocking horse. So for me to get a compliment on that, that means it is actually quite nice. So let's just have a quick chat about it. I'm wearing it at the moment, and obviously for the purposes of the review, we'll have a little spray there. And a little spray there. Again, the sprayers on these are amazing. They really, really do chuck out a good, consistent amount of perfume. It comes out in a really nice way, which I absolutely like. There's nothing worse than having a sprayer where you're struggling with it. But not that issue at all with the Guerlain bottles that I've tried so far. Okay, as I say, it came out in '92. The nose behind it was Jean-Paul Guerlain. We won't really talk about him too much. There's absolutely no need. He doesn't make perfumes anymore. That's all we need to know. Richie's going to hate me for reviewing this one because I'm going to go through the notes now. So I've got this wonderful picture of him in his studio, just because he obviously does all the video side of it, and he types everything up and, you know, transfers it onto the screens that you see. And obviously he does an awful lot of work behind the scenes while I just get to wear perfume and waffle. So sorry about this one, Rich, but are you ready? 3, 2, 1. On the top we have aldehydes, juniper berries, lavender, green notes, violet, clary sage, petitgrain, bergamot and lemon. And then in the middle we have coriander, carnation, patchouli, pepper, balsam fir, orris root, jasmine, lily of the valley, rose, geranium, patchouli and pink pepper. And then on the base we have sandalwood, amber, musk, oak moss and cedar. And relax. So what do you get? Well, it's such a complicated fragrance. Remember, when I was reviewing this one, I said the opening blast is quite confusing. And that it seems very much the same case with this as well. You get this kind of boom, and everything kind of goes, wah! And then it all kind of settles back in a bit. So it's just it's a massive opening. It almost smells a little bit musty because I think everything's screeching at the same time. But the mustiness goes very quickly, and you've just got to really, really use your nose to try and pick anything out. I think everything's in here. And one thing that did alarm me was the violet, because I don't really get on with violet in perfumes. It's not something that I'm kind of keen on. And if I'd read the note listings before I'd actually bought this, I probably would have erred on the side of caution and not gone for it, because I'm not a massive fan of violet. But it's handled with a very deft touch. It's not overly dominant. You don't really notice it that much. There are quite a lot of citrus notes in that opening blast, but again, they're quite subtle. It's not a citrusy fragrance at all. Everything just comes in, and it's very much, to me, as this kind of develops, you do get the herbal note. The coriander and everything is there. The carnation is more dominant than the rose. I wouldn't class this as a rosy frag at all. You're right, Rich, you're going to like this one. But you get this cacophony of smells that just sits together absolutely perfectly to give this very mature vibe. It's quite, it's not a loud perfume. There is a bit of projection, obviously, but it doesn't thump out. It's not a screamer. It's not particularly look at me. It's a very refined fragrance, very confident fragrance, and one that would be perfect for the office. I'm slightly concerned that it isn't as loud as I would like. I would like a bigger fragrance than this, but it does seem to me to be very long lasting. It gets me through the evening quite well. So like 7 or 8 hours of it being quite noticeable, and then it really does fade into your skin. It's not one that you put on and wake up and still smell on yourself in the morning. By the time I've got out of bed in the morning, it's long gone. So I don't think it's the longest lasting fragrance out there. But what I do find quite interesting, I don't know whether it's like the butteriness of the orris or patchouli being slightly different to how it is. You do notice patchouli very much. I get a very leathery vibe, especially in the dry down. And I was surprised to see that there's no leather listed there. It goes into kind of like a woody amber with a little bit of spice in it. So it's a warm fragrance. That's why it's not going to be great for the heat. I wouldn't suggest wearing this in the day. If you were working in an air-conditioned office or something like that, then yeah, you'll be fine. But I don't think this is going to do particularly well on a hot day, and I've never tried it on a hot day, which is unusual for me because I normally just rush out and wear anything I like, especially if it's new. It's like, whatever the weather, whatever the weather. But not with this. As I say, summer's evenings have been fine, but I've got better things to wear on a summer's evening, and as I've mentioned before, I'm a big lover of sandalwood on a summer's evening. Now, there is sandalwood in this, but I think because the sandalwood kind of comes in with the amber and the cedar, it's not a sandalwoody dominant fragrance. You are aware of sandalwood, and again, because it's got orris in it, or orris root rather, and it's got sandalwood, there is a slight creaminess to it, but it's an interesting creaminess. It's almost like a butteriness, rather than sort of like a dairy cream, you know, like a Seminolis has got that condensed milk vibe. This hasn't. This has got a warm, leathery, woody butteriness to it, I would say would probably be a better word. But again, because there's so much other stuff going in there, you've got Lily of the Valley, you've got a small amount of rose, the geranium, the patchouli, it's always interesting. I think this is just a wonderful fragrance. It's a mature man's fragrance. And I'm going to have to say it, this is not for your young thrusters. This is for your more mature fragrance enthusiast like myself. Now, I don't know whether I'm having... Oh, that was actually the wrong one. That's the one I'm talking about. Not that one. So let's get rid of that and let's talk about that. Sorry about that. As I'm getting older, I don't know whether I'm looming towards some kind of midlife crisis or not, because I'm finding myself drawn to more of these kind of refined scents. Don't get me wrong, I'm still at my happiest when I'm wearing something by, you know, it's one of the Auto Parases that's screaming interesting and good fun. But I'm starting to find that there is a role in my life for fragrances like this that have that kind of sort of more refined, gentlemanly vibe to it. And that's exactly what this has. I think this certainly isn't a blind buy because it's such a cacophony, it's such a melange of notes and accords that just do something weird. What I do find as well, though, is every time I wear it, I'm constantly smelling it because I'm starting to pick out on different things. So maybe I've kind of rushed forward with this review. Maybe I should have worn it for a couple of more weeks or a couple of more months before I got the review out. But I'm really, really impressed with this. I like the wood cap on this one as well. It's better than the cap on the Homme. But I really, really enjoy this fragrance, and I think it's one that you will too, if you like that cacophony of notes, that that amazing, I don't know, what's the word I'm looking for? There's so many notes in here, and it's blended so well. And what I like about that is it gives everything a chance to shine a little. Nothing over dominates. I think in the dry down, the patchouli is probably the most prominent note that you're going to find in here. But it's not only about patchouli. This is the thing. It's not like some of the fragrances I've got that are a real celebration of patchouli, and patchouli is the star. Patchouli isn't the star, but it is an important role in this fragrance. So I don't really know what more to say about this. It's one that you will definitely need to try. You have to sample this. I wouldn't recommend a blind buy. If you're a fan of Guerlain, you will know kind of what you're getting, because I do think, you know, obviously we have the Guerlainade, and there are kind of you'll know from one to another, although they're going to be different perfumes, there's going to be a similar theme running through them, so you're going to understand them. And you'll know a lot more, you know, about what you're getting into than someone who's never tried anything from the house. I thoroughly recommend that you try this one. I think it's beautiful. I love the presentation. I love the performance. I wish it was a little bit louder, but I think the EDT is a little bit louder. So if you want something with a bit more presence, maybe the EDT could be for you. I'm going to try and get hold of a sample of the EDT, just so I can do a side-by-side. And then obviously what I will do is I'll come back to you again with the vintage versus the current, just to see if there is that much of a difference. I'm hoping there isn't, because I don't want to have to suddenly get another bottle of perfume that is effectively the same thing, but just a different, you know, different formulation of it. So there you have it. Listen, I think my life's starting to become very much back to normal, and I hope yours is too, because we've been through quite a lot, and it's been a very long time of all this, and you know, it's certainly having an effect on everyone. So listen, I really wish you well. Thank you very much for your time. Keep your eyes peeled, because I'm hopefully going to be filming again this afternoon, and then a couple more for the next week. So there's going to be hopefully a little flurry of videos coming your way. So please stick with it, and thank you ever so much for your support again. Ever so, you know, really, really appreciated. Now, I say it every time, but your time is really, really precious to you, and we're so grateful that you're sharing it with us. So listen, thank you very much. Take care. I hope you have a great day, and if you've got some sun in your life, get it on your skin. It makes you feel amazing. Just make sure you're wearing the right perfume. All right, thanks very much for your time. Cheers, take care, and bye.